And today we are doing Doctrine of Devils. Doctrine of Devils. Not to be confused with doctrines, plural, of devils. Doctrines of devils are teachings that devils perpetrate. False teachings that they get people to believe. So there's doctrines of devils that it tells us about in the Bible. We're probably going to be seeing a little bit of that, but we're looking at today teachings about devils themselves. So the first devil, Satan, we find in Genesis in the Garden of Eden, and it doesn't name him by name. He came as a serpent and beguiled Eve. So he spoke to Eve and deceived her, got her to disobey God through his subtlety. In Revelation, it plainly calls the devil the serpent. So I think we can safely make a correlation there. All right, so the devil himself, we're going to look first in Ezekiel chapter 28. So, I think that God gives us some information about the devil, and it's in there in Ezekiel. He didn't tell us that in Genesis. It wasn't real important to give us in Genesis. But in Ezekiel chapter 28, we find some interesting things about an individual, an entity, that it doesn't say that it is the devil, but if you look at the description, you piece the pieces of evidence together, and I think you will see that it is. So let's take a look at it. Ezekiel chapter 28, beginning in verse 11. Moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, take up a lamentation upon the king of Tyrus. Now, at first glance, this looks like it's a man. It says the king of Tyrus. And what you have to understand is that the whole world is under Satan's control. And there's some places in the book of Daniel that help us to see this also, that the rulers of this world, in Daniel it said about the prince of Grecia and the prince of Persia. Thank you. That and it definitely has to be a spiritual entity that it's speaking of. But I don't want to get off track here. We're going to stick with Ezekiel for right now. So just take this, put this, in your mind, and then you can go back to the other later if we want to. But the king of Tyrus. Now, there are kings, but here it is referring, I believe it's referring to the one behind the king. So really, the rulers of the world are more or less puppets. And their spiritual powers, we wrestle against spiritual wickedness in high places. So the king of Tyrus, it says, take up a lamentation upon him, and say unto him, Thus saith the Lord God, Thou sealest up the sum, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. Now, it could be argued that, this is talking about a man, this king. He's beautiful, he's wise. Well, look at the next verse. It says, verse 13, Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of God. Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of God. All right, so actually in the Garden of Eden? Is this figurative? Is this metaphorical? Or was he actually in the Garden of Eden? And who was in the Garden of Eden? Adam and Eve, thank you. And God. And who else? The serpent, the devil. Every precious stone was thy covering. Covering? You think of scales, the sardius, topaz, the diamond, the beryl, the onyx, the jasper, the sapphire, the emerald, the carbuncle, and gold. So this is a beautiful snake. Yeah, one that Eve saw and, oh, you're beautiful. I'll listen to you. He does. Oh, the serpent. Okay. Oh, okay, yeah. 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 The workmanship of thy tabrets and of thy pipes was prepared in thee in the day that thou wast created. Created. So this isn't being born, it's not being procreated, it's being created. God created Adam, Eve, he created the angels. And it says about this one person, the workmanship of thy tabrets. What's that? Drums. And pipes. That's musical instruments, brass, flutes, wood instruments. Was prepared in thee in the day that thou wast created. So Satan was created by God to praise God, to lead in praise and worship of God with music, and very skillful with music. And this is why I don't believe that music is just neutral. I think that Satan knows how to use, and this is where the big beat of rock music, the jungle rhythm, you have syncopated beat, and Satan, I do believe that he uses that. So we do need to be careful about what music we listen to. So that we'll get back to that some other time. Don't want to get off on that too much. Next verse, 14. Thou art the anointed cherub that covereth. All right, so this king of Tyrus, don't see where it could just be a man, because God plainly says, thou art the anointed cherub that covereth. Cherub, that is an angel there aren't too many cherubs. There's only a few. Cherubims, seraphims have wings. Yeah, so not all angels have wings. Just the cherubims and the seraphims. And the archangels, so you've heard of Michael and Gabriel. And and there was Lucifer. Lucifer, that is Satan, before he fell. Lucifer, the light bearer, angel of light. So he's an angel of light, music, worship, and the anointed cherub that covereth, anointed because anointed is you're given a special task. He was the top angel, most powerful angel. And I have set thee so. Thou wast upon the holy mountain of God. So, anyone who wants to argue about the anointed cherub that covereth, if they want to say that's figurative or metaphorical, now you got to keep on going, because thou wast upon the holy mountain of God. Now, the holy mountain of God is in heaven. There's a mountain in heaven where God's throne is. The holy mountain of God. So, to approach God isn't easy. If you make it to heaven, then you have to go up this mountain, to see him. The holy mountain of God, get this, thou hast walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. So picture this, a mountain, God's throne in the center, and around it, like a moat, stones, jagged stones, burning, that not anybody can approach to God. You have to get special entrance to get there. This anointed cherub, he gets to go up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. He is God's creation, the most powerful being, angel, messenger, yes. So he's going to be going to God's throne and back and forth. Verse 15, thou wast perfect in thy ways from the day that thou wast created. So, God didn't make him with sin. He sinned on his own. So, devils, they do have a will. They have a will. Thou wast perfect in thy ways from the day that thou wast created, till iniquity was found in thee. Now, iniquity, this is what I believe iniquity is. I believe iniquity, it's not just regular sin. It's not just, I did something bad. It is doing something that appears to be good, but it's the wrong way. It's not God's way. So, Satan, I believe, was trying to help God in his own way. And in his pride, so he was lifted up with pride. He thought that he knew as much as God did. And he tried to help God, but it was not God's way. Let me finish the verses here. Verse 16, by the multitude of thy merchandise they have filled the midst of thee with violence, and thou hast sinned. Therefore I will cast thee as profane out of the mountain of God, and I will destroy thee, O covering cherub, from the midst of the stones of fire. Thine heart was lifted up because of thy beauty. Thou hast corrupted thy wisdom by reason of thy brightness. I will cast thee to the ground. I will lay thee before kings, that they may behold thee. Now, Isaiah chapter 14. Isaiah is before Ezekiel. Isaiah chapter 14. Verse 12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? Now you'll have theologians, you'll have Bible teachers that will want to say that, well, this isn't the devil. God's referring to somebody else, the king of Babylon. I just want to interject here. Jesus said he saw Satan fall from heaven. So, that sounds like Satan to me. So, Lucifer, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. All right, now another idea that some have that I disagree with. They think that Satan was trying to overthrow God. I don't think he was. I think he's too smart for that. Know that he cannot overthrow his creator. However, and if you look at it, it doesn't say that he would exalt himself above God. He said, I will ascend into heaven. He's going to go up. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. Everyone else in heaven is going to be above them. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. Didn't say I'm going to kick God off his throne and I'm going to sit there. I will sit also, including himself. So there's God the Father, there's God the Son, there's God the Spirit, and Lucifer wanted God the Lucifer. He wanted equal say in what happens with creation. He really thought highly of himself. Thought that he was really smart. So, I hope you can see how that it's not just Satan. We ourselves are corrupt. So Satan, he tried to have equal say with God. Well, God, I have some good ideas, and I think you should listen to them. And here we see where matter of authority, that there has to be levels of authority. And one of the issues we have today in our society is that people want to all be on the same level. Well, we can all make decisions. We can make the decisions together. Equity? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Well, it's not really a matter of how smart someone is, or it's a matter of position. Yeah, because actually it comes down to whoever wants to be on the same level, they end up making the decisions. And that's what Satan did. And we're no better than he is. And in chapter 64 of Isaiah, and verse 6, but we are all as an unclean thing, and all our righteousnesses are as filthy rags. Now, all the good things that we do, as far as God is concerned, it's filthy rags. And we all do fade as a leaf, and our iniquities, there's that word iniquity is again, like the wind, have taken us away. So Satan, a lot of people, if they could see him, they wouldn't think he's that bad, actually. But Satan, he has his plans for how things should be done. I really do believe that Satan has his own plan of salvation, how man should be saved. And that would be by works. You get what you work for. And that does not bring in mercy and grace and love. And so that's why there's no salvation for the devil. He is doomed. Because that's what he believes. Okay, so Satan's idea of things, Satan's idea of salvation, Satan's idea of eternal life, his idea of morality. Satan's idea of morality is be nice to everyone, no matter what. Tolerate their wicked lifestyle that goes against what God says we should do. That you get what I'm saying? His idea is morality. It's watered down idea. The devil's idea of wisdom, justice, and judgment are use the mind that God gave you. Well, we should use the mind God gave us. But God's idea is to use the mind he gave us channeled through his word. So it's real subtle. So the devil deceived Eve, and he got Cain to kill his brother. You know why Cain killed his brother? Because Abel brought a sacrifice of a lamb. Which, what did he have to do? He didn't have to do very much. Just get a lamb and sacrifice it. Abel was doing that easy believism thing. And Cain, he brought the fruit of his hands. He worked hard to grow that crop, and he brought that to the Lord. God didn't have respect to Cain's sacrifice. Cain was angry about that, and he killed his brother. So, hope this helps you to get a clear picture of the devil and how he tries to get us on the wrong path. And it's not always clear. It doesn't look like it's bad a lot of times. All right, so the devil's appearance, 2 Corinthians chapter 11. Second Corinthians chapter 11. What does the devil look like? Satan. Chapter 11, verse 14. And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. What does he look like? He looks like an angel of God. Bright, shining light. That's what you think of when you think of God. So he's subtle, is very deceptive. So if an angel appears to you, how do you know it's God's angel or if it's the devil? Yeah. Right, yeah. He only wants the best for you. Yep. And it says, verse 15, therefore it is no great thing if his ministers also be transformed as the ministers of righteousness. So who's his ministers? Well, men that follow the doctrines of the devils. Joel Osteen. Lots of them. He's not a preacher. Yeah, he may look good, conservative. Yeah, but I heard his explanation of the Ten Commandments. Oh, it's terrible. Wicked. Everything that is in it, he just turns it upside down on its head. Yeah. Talmud, yeah. Yep. All right, so the devil, his home, where is the devil right now? He's not in hell. That's a misconception. Not yet. He was cast down to the earth, but he still has access to heaven right now. So Let's take a look in Job. That's before Psalms. In Job chapter 1, and verse 6. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord. Sons of God are those who believe in the Messiah. Men who believe. That's the sons of God. He gives power to become the sons of God. God gives power for us to become sons of God, to those who believe on his name. So, men called upon the Lord, sons of God, they came before the Lord in prayer. Came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them. So get this, when you pray, Satan goes up to heaven and he says, God, you don't want to listen to him. Oh, I saw what he did. Let me tell you, how bad he is. Let me tell you what he did. And we have Jesus as an intercessor. And Jesus shed his blood. And it says, hey, it's okay, He's all right. Yeah, he paid for the sin. Yeah. So there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them. And the Lord said unto Satan, Whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. Satan is always on the prowl, looking for whom he may devour. And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that feareth God and escheweth evil? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, Doth Job fear God for naught? Hast not thou made an hedge about him, and about his house, and about all that he hath on every side, that thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land? But put forth thine hand now, and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face. And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, all that he hath is in thy power. Only upon himself put not forth thine hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord. So Satan, he goes before the Lord, and he carries on a conversation with him, arguing with God. So that's what he does. He does that right now. So you see the battle that we have. That's why we have so many struggles. Luke chapter 10. Luke chapter 10, verse 18. And he, Jesus, said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. So there's the reference verse for that. Jesus was there at the beginning of creation when Adam and Eve were in the garden. And before that, even before Satan tempted Adam and Eve, when he lifted up himself and God kicked him out of heaven. Fell as lightning. God threw him out violently. All right, next, Luke chapter 13. And verse 16. And this is about a woman that was in poor health. Jesus healed her on the Sabbath day. And he says, "And ought not this woman, being a daughter of Abraham, whom Satan hath bound, lo, these 18 years, be loosed from this bond on the Sabbath day." Satan can be the cause of some health problems. Satan bound her, it says. 18 years. So we have an adversary. Yes, some of our problems are because of Satan. He persecutes believers. All right, next, chapter 22 and verse 3. Then entered Satan into Judas, surnamed Iscariot, being of the number of the 12. Satan can possess unbelievers. I don't believe that he can possess a believer. If you believe on the Lord Jesus Christ, if you're a born-again child of God, then I don't think he can be inside of you, possess you. He can still be around, but not possess. But unbelievers can be possessed. And Judas Iscariot, he was an unbeliever. And there are several instances of devil possession in the Bible, in the New Testament, especially in the Gospels. All right, next, 2 Corinthians chapter 12. Go forward. 2 Corinthians chapter 12. And verse 7. What else? Satan do? This is the Apostle Paul speaking, and he was shown something, a special revelation from God. And he says, "Unless I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of the revelations, there was given to me a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Satan to buffet me, lest I should be exalted above measure." So now, God can use Satan for his own purposes. And God used Satan as a messenger to buffet Paul to keep him humble. Okay. Oh, I don't know if it was a thorn or an actual thorn in his flesh, yeah, or some think that it was his eyesight. Well, yeah, either way, it was a drag on him. Yeah. Trying to drag him down. Yeah. And the Lord had that to keep Paul humble because All right, 1 Thessalonians. So we have a couple more verses I want to do before we're done here. 1 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 18. And Paul is telling about how he tried to go to see these Christians, these believers in Thessalonica. And chapter 2, verse 18 says, "Wherefore we would have come unto you, even I, Paul, once and again, but Satan hindered us." So Satan can and oftentimes does hinder us. Yeah, right, yeah. Why has it got to snow on Sunday morning? Right, yeah. That very well could be. Most definitely. I feel it. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I got a message this morning that's going to help with that, I think. All right, one more place, actually two places in Revelation. Revelation chapter 12. Finish up with this. Chapter 12, verse 9 and 10. All right, so the devil, Satan, was cast down from heaven at the beginning of creation. He still has access to heaven right now. One day, God's going to cut that off. He's going to say, "No more. Get out of here, Satan. I'm tired of seeing you." And in verse 9 of chapter 12, "The great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan." Well, just in case you don't get it, God just hammers away. "Which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him." So this is during the tribulation, halfway through the tribulation. He's going to be cast out of heaven. Cast down to the earth, woe be to the inhabitants of the earth, because he knows that his time is short. He's going to be mad. And verse 10, "And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, Now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ. For," get this, "the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night." So that's one thing that he does, accuses us. Doesn't say false accusation. Much of it is true. Yeah, he doesn't bother with false. He just gives the true accusation, because we sin enough. Yeah. Destroy Noah too. Yeah. And then Revelation chapter 20, and I'm just going to finish by saying that chapter, it tells us how that the devil will be cast into the lake of fire and brimstone and will be tormented day and night forever and ever. So that's his end. And the angels that followed him. So he took part of the angels with him when he fell from heaven. I think it was a third, it tells us. Yeah. Gabriel. Yeah. And Yes, so a third would be his angels. Yeah.